unless, I've said this many times, unless WB sends me a MetaQuest 3 with a copy of Arkham Shadow, I'm not going to play it. For some reason, I was invited out to Meta headquarters in Bellevue, Washington to play a demo of Batman Arkham Shadow. Yes, I am being 100% serious. Camouflaj Studios actually reached out to me to be a part of their demo showcase for Batman Arkham Shadow, where I got to meet the team behind the game, got a fantastic Q&A session, and even got to play a demo of this new game. So, before everything else, a massive thank you to Camouflaj Studios for inviting me out to this event, and Viral Nation who organized the whole thing and reached out to me in the first place. And special shoutouts to Ryan Payton, head of Camouflaj, and one of the lead designers behind Batman Arkham Shadow. I cannot stress enough how amazing this opportunity was, and it was all possible because of them. So once again, thank you. Now I want the record to be quite clear on this fact, which I'm writing up before going to the actual experience. Yes, I was invited out by the team to play this demo. My flights, hotel stay, and meals were all covered for this trip. This was a free experience for me, and I will eventually get a free headset and review copy of the game, aka exactly what I've been asking for since the game was first revealed. That said, I have standards. Everything I will eventually say here is 100% the truth. If I liked something, I'm gonna say I liked it. If I dislike something, you better believe I'm gonna point out that I didn't like it. I will make it very clear that despite the wonderful opportunity I was given by the team behind this game, I wasn't gonna skirt around my potential issues and pretend they don't exist. I always make it my mission to be as honest with you all as I can about my thoughts on games. I think I've made that pretty clear with my Suicide Squad reviews. So whichever way this review ends up, positive or negative, know that I will not be misleading you. I believe in transparency and honesty above all else. So whatever I'm about to say, I will be genuine in the following review. So with all that being said, holy Mary, Mother of Joseph, this game is going to be incredible. Take whatever negative expectations you may have had about this game and throw every single one of them out the window. Because Batman Arkham Shadow is lining up to be the greatest Arkham game of all time. I swear on my mother's mother, and my sweet little baby dog that this game is going to be a freaking masterpiece. I played a demo that featured about 30 minutes of gameplay within the first major dungeon of the game. I got a little taste of pretty much everything the game would have to offer: exploration, puzzles, combat, and Predator. And it was so good that I played it twice. I'm not kidding. I went through my first run, taking a bit of time to explore and find some secrets they had thrown in, then immediately turned around and did the whole thing again as a speedrun just because I could. And I didn't regret doing so one bit, except for how sore I was from all the physical activity, because seriously, this game was so damn fun. Batman Arkham Shadow as a whole is incredibly intuitive. I have a decent amount of VR experience under my belt, but even I thought I'd be overwhelmed with how much you're supposedly able to do in this game. I mean, the simple fact that this is a game where you're moving around is already more than I'm used to, so the fact that you can also run around, glide, punch through walls, grapple around on gargoyles, not to mention all the gadgets you have, it seemed like it would be a lot. But it all just clicked. After a few minutes of tutorial stuff and getting used to moving around with everything, it just made sense, and it felt like I was just playing through any other Arkham game with a VR headset on. They genuinely ported Arkham combat into a VR experience, and let you be the Batman beating the crap out of these enemies. To quote the lead designer, Batman doesn't walk up to people, he punches to them. And this small piece of design helps cement that these people know what the hell they're doing. Attacks are more than just randomly swinging your fists around like a maniac. You have to strike certain points or go in certain directions in order for your attacks to land, turning this from a game that would have been about just wildly swinging your fists around like a maniac, into one of quick reactions and adapting to your foes on the fly. Countering is exactly like classic Arkham countering. Just reach your fist out in the direction of an attack and you'll block it. And even though we didn't get to play with them yet, I can only imagine what fun we'll be able to have with the gadgets in combat. I can already see it being exactly like Arkham combat for a lot of people. Yeah, you can just mindlessly swing your fists around and you'll eventually get through each encounter, or you can actually use your brain and vary up your attacks to create all kinds of fun and ridiculous combos. And I can only imagine some of the stuff we're gonna be able to do in the full game if the trailer has given us any information. Predator is freaking perfect as well. They translated the feeling of Arkham Stealth into a VR game, and once again made it perfectly work. You have all your fun takedown options and hiding spots from the other games, but you literally get to choke the enemies out, or drop down on them from above, or literally whatever else you can think of from classic Predator. You've got smoke bombs and batarangs at the ready, and eventually you'll get whatever other gadgets they're adding, like the gel launcher. You can seamlessly grapple around the room or crouch down to sneak up behind. It's all there. You are Batman fighting a bunch of armed thugs in a room, hiding so that they don't shoot you up. It is terrifying, but absolutely incredible. As I progressed through my first run, I started picking up what the game was putting down, and I just kinda got it. So when it came to my second run, I literally speedran it. I bolted through the level, beating up enemies even faster than before, and finding new mechanics that weren't explained in the tutorial that just made me love this second run even more. Seriously, there is so much the game didn't tell me about that I just found naturally by trying new things, and it was just fantastic. There's a dedicated crouch button, which means of course you're able to slide. And the slide works exactly like it does in all the games. You can knock down enemies with it, slide under low walls, and even break through grates. This part in particular just made me so happy when I found it, you guys have no idea. You're able to glide by grabbing both sides of Batman's cape, so naturally you should be able to perform the cape stun by grabbing just one of those sides and swinging it at the enemy to perform a beatdown. And this beatdown is so satisfying because you just get to wail on this guy's face like there's no tomorrow. There are ledges in some areas, and your grapple gun gives you the ability to hang from them if you so choose, which means, of course, you have the ability to grab guys from the ledge and take them down in Predator sections. If there is something that you could do in a previous Arkham game that isn't named Arkham Knight, there is a very real chance we'll be able to do it in Batman Arkham Shadow. And I am all here for it. I genuinely only had one complaint with my entire experience, and it was just a small intuition issue that may or may not even be a problem for other players. And if it is, it's one that can easily be solved with the 3 months of development time that they have left. When you're on a vantage point, there's no easy way to drop down. That's it. You could always just glide down, or you can lean forward with the right stick, then press the opposite direction on said stick to drop down, which isn't very fast and, like I said, not very intuitive for a player to do consistently. I just found myself pressing buttons hoping it would work, and really only sometimes it did. So I told them straight to their faces about that issue. And you know what they did? They wrote it down and will maybe take it into account on their next round of playtesting. These guys know what the hell they're doing. Aside from that, yeah, I mean, the game's a little incomplete. I did run into a few small glitches during my playthrough, and the team even directly admitted to having a few crashes during these demo showcases, but that's to be expected, because it's a freaking demo. The game is not meant to be finished yet. They still have development time, and they are going to use it to the fullest extent to create the best game possible. And just based on what I've seen so far, they are absolutely succeeding in that regard. Because I'll say it again, Batman Arkham Shadow is freaking awesome. I was also so lucky as I got to do a Q&A session with the team after playing, and they answered so many questions that I'm not really gonna have time to go through them all. But here's a few highlights. There will be collectibles in this game, but they are not going to be associated with the Riddler. That doesn't necessarily mean that Riddler himself isn't in the game, it wasn't confirmed either way, but it does mean that we won't be getting any Riddler trophies. Supposedly. The game will not have any notable side quests aside from the collectibles, making it very akin to Arkham Asylum in that regard. In that same vein, the game will have a pseudo-open world akin to Asylum as well, with a small hub area connecting to the major dungeons where most of the game will take place. This means that open world exploration will be there, but not a very heavy focus, and we will not be seeing Return of the Grapnel Accelerator for this reason, so don't worry about flying around like a maniac with this gadget. There is going to be a wide enemy and upgrade variety throughout the game to keep combat interesting, including the likes of shields, knives, and stun sticks. So, if for some reason you think the game looks boring from the very limited gameplay I'm allowed to show you guys, which why? Come on, I'm showing you guys 30 minutes of gameplay, this is nothing. Trust me, it is not going to be limited. Challenge maps are a very real possibility, so if you love the combat and predator of this game like I did, we might just be seeing something that allows you to play them even more. Expect some brutal first-person interrogations against the lowly thugs, including a familiar face that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to reveal because they were a little hesitant to mention him, but if you know, you know. And there just may be a few jump scares as well. Hopefully none as visceral as Man-Bat, but let's be honest, anything is possible. This is an Arkham game after all. And perhaps the most important for me personally, this game will be speedrunner friendly and you can skip the cutscenes. With how fast I was able to get through my second run, I can only imagine how a true speedrun of this game will eventually look. I can tell you one thing, it's going to be exhausting with how much physical activity we'll be doing. There's a bunch of other stuff we asked and told, but I simply don't have time to go over it all. Just know that after playing the game and talking to the people behind it, I knew for a fact that Batman Arkham Shadow was going to be excellent. If it wasn't clear, I was incredibly worried about Batman Arkham Shadow from the very first trailer. I literally put out a post the day of reveal that I think summed up my thoughts pretty well. After the failure that was Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Batman fans were incredibly grim at the thought of a new game coming out only a few months later. When the story trailer and the interview with Batman Arkham videos dropped though, I and many others gained a little bit of hope, because it showed that the team behind this game knew what they were doing, at least story-wise. It showed that they had respect for this series and knew they wanted to make a true Arkham experience in VR. I mean, they got Roger Craig Smith to come back over a decade later to play Batman again.
The Rat King will stop at nothing to destroy my city. How far will I go to destroy him?
If that doesn't show dedication, I don't know what will. But I was still worried about gameplay. The small explanations and screenshots we got had me worried that this would just be another Arkham VR, where, yeah, combat is there, but is it really gonna be all that more interesting than just swinging randomly in the air and hoping for the best? Like, seriously, how were you able to translate one of the most famous combat systems in gaming history into something that a person can perform with a clunky headset on their face? And I held that worry, literally until I got into the meta office and strapped that headset on. I was prepared for the worst, ready to tell the team, thanks for flying me out, but you really didn't do a good job. I was desperately hoping that it wouldn't come to that, but I held on to that possibility. But after playing that demo, I couldn't have been more wrong. After playing through this small section of a game that's estimated to be well over 8 to 10 hours, every single worry about Batman Arkham Shadow was dropped. Camouflaj Studios were somehow able to do it. They made a game that makes you Batman. Not just feel like. You are Batman in Arkham Shadow. And I can't wait to see how much more Batman we're gonna get when this masterpiece releases this October. With all that said, do all the YouTube stuff, because the shadows are looming. The Rat King is rising, and the Batman is Batman-ing? Sure, we'll go with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, chaps.
I'm done holding back!
I can bring the Rat King to you.